democracy example, you could say, if you say Slovenia is a democracy, then we could, Mate and I could both use the term democracy, but vest it with different content. We could understand it differently.
Yeah, my gut reaction is that this really depends on your, I would say, private concept of democracy.
Yeah.
So, for example, if I'm a right-wing, I would say it is more like right-wing leaning in Slovenia. I would say there is no democracy, and I would feel justified.
Yeah.
But this supporter of Kučan, he will also feel justified, and we will all say this is true. But this is the case of rational disagreement.
And what do we do
Kučan is former party leader. Yeah.
Could we say that there is a sort of a best fit conception of democracy, the one and the only one which is right, among all these rational disagreements? So, I mean, there's the best conception of democracy. We all aspire towards it, but we all, from our own particular perspectives, are not getting it right. But we believe that there is, and, you know, so that's the only way that I might disprove my colleague Jen, saying that, according to her conception of democracy, which is in my mind wrong, Slovenia is a democracy. But I'm saying, Jen, you are wrong about your conception of democracy.
Well,
this is the right one.
This, I think, is the deal of judgment. If I think that it's right, I have to judge, and I'm not just have to judge, I'm obliged somehow morally to judge. So, for example, if I really believe that there is no democracy in Slovenia, I should judge in this respect, and I have some obligation, even moral. So, there is no independent. So, I don't think there is really here some third-person perspective. So, it's these judgments, which I called slack earlier, in my approach to moral terms, these judgments are from first-person perspective. I will just give you one example, but these are strange names, like Peter van Inwagen. He was repeatedly here. He is quite known philosopher. And he said, somebody, other person who died already, I saw him once, David Lewis. He says, David Lewis is he wrote this 20 years ago. He said, he is so smart, and he knows each move. So he knows all arguments that I will produce, but I didn't convince him. So he says, and I have this judgment upon a certain free will, for example, and he has opposed. And from that person's perspective, you would never come to conclusions. So I think also lawyers, as I understand, have to make some judgments, which may be conditioned by some things, but that are finally first-person perspective related. Because, yeah.
I just wanted to say, if some attorneys lose their case and in court and they say Slovenia is not a legal state, I think that this is really subjective judgment that doesn't hold water. So this goes also for democracy.
But I don't think that these judgments are somehow arbitrary or so. They are not arbitrary, they have some support. But of course, what is evidential support? So some evidence is material, but some of your evidence is just your conscious assessment of things.
It's practical.
Yeah, it's your conscious assessment of things involving everything else that influences your judgment and that you have unbeknownst to you in your background. I will give you a simple example. Cat. I have, for example, white cat, you have black cat, he has striped cat. So, and we all understand cat. Yeah, but as we come...
I thought we did. No, I don't.
Sorry, he has Siamese cat. And we all have then different, as we come to cat, we have different, subjective views on this. Okay.
All right, now we are at the end of the workshop. We would like to thank everybody for coming to Slovenia. And one more thing, papers will be published in our journal Dignitas, Slovenian Journal of Human Rights. And the deadline for submission will be 1st of April next year.
Those who would like to
those who would like. It's not obligatory. Maybe Matej and Marko want to say something again.
I'd just like to thank really everybody, and especially again for this last presentation, which was very interesting and extremely entertaining. And it brought this conference to an end very differently than the conferences usually end. That's when the conferences usually end, you know, the people are basically dead. They just need to leave. Whereas here, at least I speak for myself, of course, it just woke me up. So I also think, I mean, we had great exchanges, even though the title itself was incoherent, and we were choosing you guys without any kind of requirement of what kind of paper you were supposed to present, and in the end, I think we had a very good conference where somehow all the papers were connected into a, I would say, very good conference. And I also liked, especially, and that's what the conferences are good for, I like the social side to it. So I hope that I can see you soon, either here again, we'll be doing it next year for sure, or I will be seeing you somewhere else and at some other places.
Thank you.
And of course, thanks to Špela.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Especially Vojko, who was the...
To Vojko.
He's not here. Wherever he is now.
If that's true. If that's true.
It's true.
It depends what you mean by
Very interesting. Yeah, there are some. Okay.
Well, it's an interesting question. Just the suggestion expanded. This selection some others, you can say that maybe gives some first sometimes in these terms.